Okay, we're coming back for part two. Remember, I did talk a lot about a couple of other things about money, but I want to focus back on the multiple accounts. We talked about having a regular checking account. Your regular checking account could be where you pay your bills, whatever you do. It's just your regular checking account. It's where your debit card. It's the account that you use when you go to the grocery store. Now, I do have some clients that have a regular checking account and then they have a bill account. Let's just say you're married. One of the best things you can do as a married couple, most of the time you split a bill. If you go through, remember we talked about our budget when we were talking about money? Set your budget, how much your bills are, and when the bills are due. And as you and your partner get paid, put money into the bill account. That's the joint account with both of your names on it, and that's where you pay the bills from. Once again, it eliminates having overdrafts. Most people stop doing banking and stop using banks when they cannot manage their overdrafts. And of course, the natural thing is to blame the bank and I don't understand and I thought it cleared. I forgot about this, I forgot about that. We are eliminating all things, all of the small things that can hinder us. Remember, I talked about that earlier. It is the very small things that hinder us when it comes to money. It is not the large things. So I always recommend for couples have a joint account to which you pay bills. Both parties contribute enough, whether you split it down the middle or whether you say, hey, I pay the light bill, so here's the money in here, and always round up and add extra. That's the way to make sure that account always has a little bit of money. And guess what? After a couple of months and you have a little bit, you guys may decide, hey, we want to go out to eat and you can treat yourselves. But you know for sure that that account is dedicated to mainly about your bills and you want to make sure you leave it that way. Then you can have what's your regular checking account separately. Let's face it, every person does something different. A woman might say, oh my gosh, this is something I have to have, it's on sale. A guy could say, hey, I want to buy something, there's a fight, I'm going out to eat or drink with my buddies, hey, I'll just use this money. And you don't always have time to talk to one another. I used to think, oh my God, if your checking accounts is not the same, why are you married? No, learning better meant doing better. And like I said, being an accountant and being in the room with people who make money changed a lot of that. And I'll talk about that too in another video about joint accounts and husband and wife and businesses and things like that. Like I said, there's so much for us to learn about money. And when you can learn and, have the opportunity to be in the room full of people that make more money, that's a prime time for you to be quiet and listen, which is what I've done and why I'm able to share it with you. So, it's always good to have the joint account for the bills and then have a separate checking account. It's just your personal account. You got your little money in there. If it's a husband, guess what? He can surprise you without you seeing it because he's getting it from his personal account. Same thing with the wife. And it always gives you some leeway where you're not feeling like, oh, I'm being watched with every penny I spend or throwing your main account into the negative. Just something to think about. Your savings account, the one that we're not touching, I always recommend that you do it somewhere that you don't go. A credit union is great because credit unions typically are not located all over the city. So you're not going to be running up to the bank all the time. And, if you get it from another ATM, it's going to cost you. Yeah, I know people tell you all the time, we'll give you their money back or no charge for ATM, but that is usually not the case. So you want to make sure that you have the savings account. It makes it easier for you not to touch it. And even better, have that money come out before you even receive it on your check. If you don't see it, you won't spend it. It's easier to spend to not spend what you don't see. The next thing is having an emergency account. Now, your emergency savings should be kind of close just in case you really do have an emergency. Like your tire being flat, that's an emergency. Making sure that, let's just say, you forget a bill or you get a ticket, that's an emergency. Now it's something that's not planned, something you couldn't foresee, and you have to take care of it. Or if you have an accident and you have to pay your deductible, it can come from your emergency account. You want to make sure, though, a sale at Macy's, a sale at Neiman's, those are not emergencies. Those are things that you want. You should put them on a credit card that you pay right back off. Yeah. Anywho, back to real emergencies. And you want to leave money in your emergency account. Let me just tell you, I used to feel like I was the victim of every emergency. My husband and I used to feel like, oh my gosh, things are always happening to us. The minute we started applying all of the things that I'm telling you, emergencies, as we thought, they became something of the past. It wasn't that our life became charmed all of a sudden or that we were walking around with a halo, but you would be surprised when you're prepared for something, it doesn't happen. Think about it. When you prepare for something and you have money sitting, nothing happens. The minute you touch that account and say, you know what, I get paid in a couple of days and I'm just going to drain my account, everything comes out. Somebody breaks in your home or breaks a window out your car. Things beyond your control, but you still have to handle them. That's emergencies. And that's why if you hold that money, I told you, money is a magnet. If you keep money, it will always be attracted back to you and not away from you. And so you won't find yourself chasing it. So let's review. We have a regular checking account. We have a debit account that is just for dues and subscriptions. Remember, we talked about that in the previous video. Your Netflix account, your Disney Plus, your gym membership, or whatever it is. Even if you have your phone bill and you say, oh, I just have it directed or direct debited out of my account. What anything like that, put in a separate account. That way it never catches you off guard and you're not paying for that item as well as a $32 to $35 overdraft fee. When I'm doing bookkeeping, sometimes a lot that I find clients will have a lot of NSF fees, and that looks horrible. Nobody wants to do business with someone who has a lot of fees because it's an indicator to them that you don't take care of your business. And we want to make sure that we're taking care of business. So, as we talk about money and we perfect our budgeting, remember, multiple accounts is the best way to go. And if you can have relationship with more than one bank, that's even better. As an entrepreneur, you want to have opportunities and make room to extend credit when you need it. And that comes after we learn to trust ourselves with money. Remember, part of this is also a discipline. We are disciplining ourselves to handle more money. Who goes into business to handle less? And you would be surprised that you can mismanage more so much easier when you don't give it any thought. We're growing into this. We're talking about money, and we're just growing better, stronger, and wiser. It's been your girl, the Queen Bee of Doing Business Better, saying let's keep on talking about money. Talking about getting that money, talking about getting that money, and talking about managing that money. Bye-bye.